live. Hold on. It says that the stream is live. I've got the YouTube page open. I don't know. It should go live. Oh, baby. We are live, Harrington. We are live to the world. I've popped the chat out. We'll see when the chat starts jumping in. But Mike Harrington, looking lean, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. The magic of a new camera for Christmas will make me look better on my end for sure.
No, you do. You do seem a little leaner. You shed a few pounds?
No, absolutely not. I've been gaining weight steady. Like, I just saw a buddy of mine get on the scale and it was 300 pounds. And I was like, dude, that's my future. That's literally coming down the pike for me if I don't change some things.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, I don't even want to say it, but, new year, new me and all the rest of it. I'm the same way because I've, the neck surgeries, the pain I was in.
You had neck surgery?
Yeah, did I not mention that?
I hadn't heard.
You prick. But yeah, no, so I've been working out and stuff, but I got on the scale. I was like 233. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I've been lifting again. So, muscle weighs more than flab, but there was a lot of indulging going on over Christmas. So new year, new me. Thanks to everyone in the chat for being here. We appreciate you. Thought we'd do a little bit of a live on a Thursday because we've only been doing one show per week. So Mike Harrington was available. Brian's enjoying himself in Austin. I mean, how dare this guy? Go on vacation, see friends, have a social life. Since when?
Yeah, dude, it's been 7 years of working with Brian on this show, and I don't think I've ever seen him go to a social engagement, 20 minutes away from his house, much less a plane flight away. So God bless, dude. I'm happy for him out there.
No, I'm happy for him as well. He said now he's finally earning some proper money. He can get on the road and start enjoying himself a bit more, and he bloody well deserves it. So we've got a couple of super chats here. Karate Kid, no question, just boop. Okay, I don't actually know what that means. It says, Mike, I'm in the middle of the Jackson episode. What did they cut out? I don't know if you've seen this, Harrington. I did the Jackson podcast a couple of weeks ago, right before Christmas, and had a great time catching up with Quinton Rampage Jackson. Luke Rockhold was on there as well. I didn't know Rockhold was going to be on there. But what did they cut out? I don't know. I haven't watched it back. I haven't seen it. I can't imagine they cut too much out. Hyperlon. I'm trying to think now. My agent had a couple of reservations. He said, we maybe need to chop this bit out. I said, I don't care. Because I was talking about my neck surgeries. Because Luke was trying to get me to fight him in karate combat. I said, would you do it again? I said, I would. I said, but right now I need a little bit of time. I said, I haven't been working out because, the surgeries that I never mentioned. And I mentioned that I've been taking a few pain pills and stuff. So my agent was like, oh, you can't have that bit in. I'm like, you have 3 surgeries. You need to take medication. Anyway, what a guy, what a night. Thank you, Adam Rogers. What's going on in your world, Harrington?
Not too much. Had a very fun, had like a fun New Year's Day celebration for we have this weird tradition in our house where, Alex and I work in comedy, so we always have to work New Year's Eve. There's always a show that we're going to be producing somewhere. And then the next day, her great aunt's birthday is New Year's Day. So we have to go over to that house and have a big family party with the same people we just did Christmas with. So my social meter is I'm completely burnt out. I want nothing more than to sit down and talk about fights.
Oh, well, exactly. And there's been no fights for the last few weeks now. I mean, we're still talking about UFC Tampa. Fights are back next weekend, though. Amanda Hebas going up against Mackenzie Dern. That's a rematch from 2019 Tampa. Funnily enough, should be a good one. Pretty good fight card as well. Good to get this show back. The UFC, I mean. Then the week after, we got Arman Tsarukyan versus Islam Makhachev. Jamal Hill versus Yuri Prochazka. And, of course, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Monday morning, on the Believe You Me podcast, by the way, we got Merab joining and we got Yuri Prochazka joining. And, of course, the one and only Paul Felder. Somebody says here, love you, Hamilton. F you, Bisping.
Okay. All right. This is getting out of control.
That's not nice.
You got to knock it off. I'm going to get in trouble.
Never, buddy. Never. I have the fastest car in here, says Mika Gordon. Said, well, all right. Calm down. Bisping, thoughts on Aspinall being safe from Coach Colin because his dad follows him everywhere. Well, that's not a bad shout, actually. There is some nasty rumors going around. I don't know if the rumors, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if they're serious allegations. I've heard them, what they are. YouTube's a bit weird, but it does involve underage. It involves bloody kids and a certain word beginning with P. I don't know about the validity of any of this. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's bullshit. I don't know if it's nonsense. I did mention it to Tom. Tom said the exact same thing. He said, I've heard some rumors. He said, I don't know anything about it whatsoever. And I don't. So I'm not going to go any further on that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's pretty nasty shit. But if it's true, I hope he burns in hell. If it's not, then I kind of feel for the guy. You know what I'm saying?
It's tough because that'll follow you one way or another. You know what I mean? Like an allegation like that hits and it's like you were vindicated in court. Okay. Still the first thing that comes up when people Google you.
Well, and what I think that would be. What's the first thing that comes up when they Google you, Harrington? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably producer, superstar, champion, silly boxer. I don't know. What?
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm not wasting my time. We never gave out the award for Dildo of the Year.
We didn't.
Who were the front runners? Jake Paul's always in the running. Dylan Dennis, of course, he's the godfather of the Dildo Award. Who else do we have? Andrew Tate's been in there before. Who this year has been annoying?
Well, I had Drake in there and Haney.
Jamal Hill.
Jamal Hill's in there.
Jamal's been going off on everybody. In fact, I did a YouTube video about it yesterday, so check it out if you haven't seen it. And a lot of people think I'm defending him. I wasn't defending him. I was just kind of putting myself in the mindset because fighters, right, like Jamal Hill, like myself, like a lot of people that find themselves fighting for a living, maybe they've got a few emotional problems. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they've got a victim complex. Maybe they didn't have the opportunities that other people had growing up, and and their life was hard. So that's kind of where that comes from, you know. And they find themselves getting into a lot of fights. Or Ian Gary should be on there as well. He's always a nominee. And I was just saying, look, listen, he's going mental at everybody, and he is. He's giving Michael Johnson shit because he said that stuff with Pereira was kind of what did he say? It was something. It was lame or something like that. Lame shit. Clown shit. That's what he said.
Yes.
He said it was clown shit. So then Jamal went after him. You know, well, of course Jamal is. Jamal's, you know, he's an angry, big, pissed off, embarrassed guy. You know what I'm saying? He's annoyed at what happened with the Pereira fight and he wants to get it back. And here's what I was saying on the video. We don't get PR training. Do you know what I mean? He's come from the streets of Detroit, fighting his ass off for a living, you know, to all of a sudden he's on social media. He's a household name in mixed martial arts. He's a former UFC champion, and everything gets scrutinized. And we don't get PR training. So we should, in a weird way, we should enjoy it, that it's unfiltered. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, okay. You know, some of it's a bit out of, you know, some of it's a little bit nasty or whatever. And some people might not appreciate it, but I do appreciate the unfilteredness.
I remember having this conversation when ESPN first signed the UFC. Karen Bryan was on with us, and I was like, yo, you guys are now getting paychecks from Disney. Are they not going to make you take PR training? And it's like, nah, dude, this is still Danish show.
Hey, it's as real as it gets. It is what it is. That's just the way we are. A lot of people saying good job on the Jackson podcast. Thank you very much. Horsey XCL as Biden for Dildo of the Year. We'll throw him on there. Why not? Who would your nomination be?
I mean, it's tough this year. It's tough to think of anybody other than Diddy. Like, that guy is the punchline of almost every joke. And not to mention, he got caught with about 1,000 dildos.
Yeah, no, that's never a good thing. And all the baby oil and all the rest of it. So that kind of, that puts him in a front runner. But I do have to say, Jake Paul going out there and boxing a 58-year-old. I'm sorry. That's my pick. That's my pick. Let me know in the chat what you think. Steve Ruskin, we've got a question for you, Harrington. Harrington, brother, how the hell are we going to get a BYM live with a full team in the UK? We want Anthony and now Felder as well. Anthony's gone MIA. Okay, I'm just being honest. I saw him on Instagram. He's off swimming and snorkeling and enjoying himself, and he's having some downtime. So fair play to him. Hopefully he comes back soon, and we'd love to have him. Felder has stepped into the fold in the meantime. Good luck getting a BYM live anywhere. Good luck getting a BYM in the UK, and good luck getting a BYM with me, Harrington, Brian, Felder, and Anthony.
Just to let you know, there's a UFC pay-per-view happening 40 minutes from your home. We haven't even discussed the possibility of doing a live show for that one.
Well, if we ever have UFC Manchester again, we'll do it. There's a UFC event in March. I would love to do it, but I'm already doing apparently 2 black tie dinner events.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. But so that week is too busy. But the next time we're in anywhere in the UK, we will do it. I make that promise right now. You know, what's going on in MMA, Harrington? I know you haven't compiled notes like a normal episode, but if you were to pick out a subject or a topic, what would be your number one right now?
Well, I mean, look, you're throwing it to me. It's going to be very Harrington coded, but Eddie
Oh,
Alvarez
God.
gave an interview today. He said it's very
Who did?
frustrating to watch Eddie Alvarez.
Right.
He said it's been very frustrating to watch Michael Chandler's UFC career so far. He knows that he has a greater potential, and he should be showing that. He definitely has championship material. He did say, though, if this next fight doesn't go his way, he would love to see Michael Chandler drop the gloves and come on down to BKFC and fight him.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Chandler's a great fighter. He is. He just hasn't got the results, simple as that. I mean, Eddie Alvarez became a champion in the UFC. Unbelievable. Great for him. Obviously, had a bad night in the office against Conor McGregor. That was a tough one. McGregor was on fire that night. So obviously, how many times did Alvarez and Chandler fight? Did they fight 2 times?
Yeah, I think they fought for the title twice in Bellator and are 1-1. I will double check.
And who won?
I think they are 1-1.
Yeah, so of course that's why Alvarez says that, because anytime somebody beats you one time, you're like, this guy's better than this, because it reflects on you, and he just does. That's the way it works. Chandler's good. Chandler's great. The problem is he's in the lightweight division, and he went up against Charles Oliveira and he gave a good account of himself. He clearly lost the fight, but he didn't get finished and he had some moments. Who else is he? I mean, it's like we spoke about on Monday. Grant Dawson called him out for only beating Tony Ferguson and what's his name? Dan Hooker, But
Dan Hooker, top 5 guy right now, by the way.
Isn't that crazy? Who would have thought that a few years ago? And by the way, he deserves it. He's earned it. He's done it the proper way. But the other people that he's fought, who's he fought? Dustin Poirier, fight of the year. Justin Gaethje, fight of the year.
Charles Oliveira twice.
And Charles Oliveira twice. Yeah. And the first one he did really good, almost finished him. And the second one, not quite as well. But anyway, Jason Schmidt on the dildo subject has Diddy at number 1, Biden at number 2, Fauci at number 3. Let's throw him in there. Covington at 4 and Jake Paul at 5. All right. Okay. We'll leave that one there. Go on.
I was just Covington reminded me. He said that the only reason that he was cut in the Joaquin Buckley fight was due to a headbutt. It was an illegal headbutt, and the quote unquote DEI doctor waved him off. So that's the only reason. Yeah.
Oh God, I can't remember what the doctor was.
She was a woman. Yeah,
it's a woman, but she wasn't DEI. You know what I mean? But she has been the doctor many, many times. I remember actually. Look, listen, it was a clash of heads. If I remember correctly, it was a clash of heads that caused the cut. Dana said at the post-fight press conference that the cuts was, he would have liked to have seen the fight continue. I didn't have a problem with it at the time. There was blood all over the octagon. Me and Felder were talking about that. I almost slipped on it when I walked in to interview Buckley. But that doctor, I've spoken to her before. I've seen her at the Apex. And I can't remember what fight it was. But there was one fight, and it was a pretty bad cut. And I saw her, and she never stopped the fight. So I saw her in the canteen at the Apex before the show started. I said, "Oh, how you doing? Nice to see you." She knows who I am, so I just said hello politely. I said, "Oh, good job on not stopping that particular fight. I forget what fight it was now." And she was like, "Well, yeah, it was just a cut. It wasn't in a bad position. It wasn't bleeding into the eye. It's just a cut, So she's not of the faint-hearted variety. You know what I mean? She's not that type. That was a bad cut. It was bleeding right into the bloody eye. Colby's going to Colby. Fair play to him. I'd say the exact same thing, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Chael in his corner for that fight said, "I was grabbing the towel to throw it in when the doctor waved it off."
Oh, did he really?
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, fair play to Chael. We always say we don't see that enough. Oh, my God. Could you imagine, Colby, if Chael threw the towel in? That would be bad. Chael gives up his time, flies down there, goes to the weigh-ins, corners him, walks him out, gives up his time, throws the towel in because he's caring for him. Colby would not have appreciated that. This been personal question. How bad did Rocco's chin hurt your hand? Straight through it, baby. Straight through it. Left hook, Larry didn't feel shit. No, it was nice talking with Luke, to be honest, and nice speaking to Rampage. If anyone saw the podcast, at the end of it, I said I would love to have another conversation off air because Rampage and I, we were part of a team for years. Rampage joined the team because of me. He liked the way I train and my work ethic and stuff like that. And those guys, I've spoke about it, and I don't want to bring up old topics and just like, you know, bring more heat. They were scummy guys. There was a lot of nasty shit went on. There was a lot of threats made. Like they showed up at my mum's house and stuff like that, and then money was going missing. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck that. I'm done. I'm done. Rampage was with them at the time. I warned him, and in the end, they burned him. They ripped him off. But Rampage didn't know how badly I was ripped off at the time, so he was kind of, you know, he's kind of brainwashed by them, and he was talking a little bit of shit publicly about me. It turns out in the end, he even said on the podcast, he said, you were right all along. I should have listened to you. But it is what it is. So that's why I said I want to speak to him. And then I say speak to him when we can have a private conversation, because we've got a lot to discuss. But it was nice to sit down with Rampage, because Rampage has got a big heart. He's an awesome guy. He's a hell of a fighter. And he's just one of those guys, just far, far, far too trusting. You know, and I've got so much respect for him. I even told him on the podcast, I was starstruck when I first met him, and he didn't believe me because I just got in the UFC and I didn't know shit about UFC or MMA at all. You know, I didn't know what it was really. So I started training for this thing called UFC, and then started watching as much as I could to learn about it. And I was watching Pride, and Rampage was in Pride, obviously. And then he ended up in the UFC, and I was at UFC Belfast, and he was there, and we met each other. And he said he was training. He invited me out to his gym, but I was like, Jesus Christ, it's Rampage Jackson from Pride. Do you know what I mean? So, and then he was the champion of the world as well. So I was still starstruck. So that it was nice to sit down and just have a nice laugh, because he's a funny bastard as well.
That is great. That's I'm glad, you know, I know there was you know, it took a while for you to get on that show, and I'm glad it you know, it finally did happen, and the fans have been, you know, I'm sorry, the believers have been popping off quite a bit. They really enjoyed that episode.
Apparently I was the most requested guest of all time, but apparently they say that to every guest that goes on. You know, I'm like, you guys are fluffing me. You don't need to do that. KZ MMA says, and he's give us 50 NIOs, whatever they are. Why didn't Hamzat get the title shot after subbing Rob? And it's a good question. It's a fair question. I do believe Dana had already committed to Strickland versus Drickus, a rematch. It wouldn't have surprised me if Hamzat jumped the line, but I don't know if Hamzat can freely travel due to visa issues all over the world and compete everywhere. I just don't know the ins and outs. I might be wrong on that. But Hamzat, he's got to get the next shot. Simple as that. I mean, what he did to Robert Whittaker was just unreal. We've all know that. We've spoke about that many times. But what do you think, Harrington?
I think it's important for when Dana White comes out and says this guy is getting the next title shot, for that guy to get the next title shot 90% of the time, you know? So it's like he made that proclamation about Sean Strickland. It would have been tough for him to go back on it, despite how electric he was in the Whittaker fight. And it's like, if you're going to do it for anybody, Sean Strickland has been the quote unquote company man, right? Stepped up on short notice to fight Izzy in Australia, then turned around pretty quickly to defend that belt in Canada against DDP when you needed a headliner beginning of last year. If anybody like earned the chance to get a win, sit out, and get a very close title fight back, I think it's Sean Strickland. So that's
maybe. Also, you got to remember, hearing the words from Dana White, the company president, say at a press conference, he's XYZ, whoever it is, they're getting a title fight next. Do you know what I mean? That comes with a lot of gravitas. Fighters are going to hang on to that. You know what I mean? And Dana did say that publicly. So there you go. And that was before Hamzat did that to Whittaker, if I'm not wrong. So it is what it is. Deal with it. Someone says here, why will I ever consider bare knuckle boxing? The answer to that is a no. Absolutely no. I don't need to. Why do I need that? I would consider maybe down the line if if my neck gets better, I would consider a little boxing match. You know, nothing crazy, nothing wild. I'm going down to Colombia a week on Sunday. I'm going to be there for a week. I'll be doing the Believe in Me podcast.
From Colombia?
From Colombia. The day after 3/11, I'll be in Colombia, Medellin. So I'm going to be doing my stem cells. We'll see how that goes. Bioaccelerator in the house. Thank you very much. I'm going to do some content down there as well. Whew, out of breath. I'm also going to speak to them. Maybe we'll get them on the podcast because I'm like, how does
this stuff's
work?
interesting? Yeah,
it is interesting. I want to know, how does this work now? What I know from a layman's perspective is that they take the placenta or the umbilical cord of actual humans and they take cells which hold all the DNA to making a human being. And somehow they have a way where they inject it, and there's some kind of receptor or hormones or something where it goes to the part of the body where it's required, where the most inflammation is and stuff like that. And they can kind of direct it away as well. And then from there, it helps regenerate certain tissues, cartilage, tendons, things like that. So I hope they got the umbilical cords of twins because I need all the bloody help I can get. But if that does all work out, hey, I'll have a little boxing match. I would do a boxing match, not an MMA fight. It's too much. My body can't say that. But a friendly exhibition bout, maybe down the line. If the money's right, why not?
So what about I'm doing commentary for an event in February, Armored Combat. Where like you put on the full suit, so you like the eye thing isn't an issue. You literally have a helm. You'd be the best fighter who's ever done this sport.
Well, that would be embarrassing, right?
You think so?
It would be embarrassing to go from being champion of the world to all of a sudden standing there with a joust and a shield and a helmet on in front of 17 people, taking on some nerd that's bloody spends all his spare time playing Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean?
All right, fine.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. But if the check's good enough, I'll do it. Sign me up.
All right, I'll talk to him.
Have a word to the organizers. Say, hey, Michael Bisping will do this, but it's going to need, some proper money. Yeah. Anyway, we've got any more questions on here? What's the biggest news story? Let's talk about UFC 311 a little bit. Umar Nurmagomedov, Merab Dvalishvili. Fair play to Merab. Getting right back into it. Just beat Sean O'Malley, of course. Now he's going to fight Umar. Said he wants to fight. I saw this. He wants to fight 3 times in 6 months. He wants Merab. He wants Petr Yan. And then he wants Sean O'Malley again in a 6-month stretch. I mean, fair play to the guy. I don't know if he would do that. I don't know if he will do that. I don't know if he's going to get through Umar Nurmagomedov. The man's undefeated for a reason. Always well-trained. Tremendous wrestling as well. And he's got great striking. So I think it's a tough one for Merab, but it's not an easy fight for Umar either.
No, but it's like, I can understand the looking ahead being like, I can take this in 6 months, because if he can get past Umar, that's easily the hardest part of the 3 form. He's beaten Yan before, he's beaten O'Malley before, and we know what those fights look like. I don't see anybody. I don't know about you, but I mean, just looking online, looking on Twitter, the discourse that's going on, I've yet to see anybody who's giving Merab a chance in this fight.
Yeah. Who you yet to see anybody giving Merab a chance?
Yeah, I've seen everybody saying Umar is going to do whatever he wants to Merab. And there's just no path to victory.
You just can't take that for granted. Look at Merab Dvalishvili. Look at what he's done. Look at the people that he's beaten, right? And look at how he does it. He's a cardio machine. He's never been knocked out. He's virtually got no neck, so he's almost impossible to knock out. Yeah, of course, you can knee him in the face, you can knee him to the stomach, you can kick him in the body, you can hurt him to the body. His pace is ridiculous. He can crack himself. He hasn't got as good striking as Umar, but in terms of will, in terms of, heart, dedication, just preparation and all that stuff, Merab's got that all day long. So don't count Merab out. Not at all. House says we missed his non-MMA super chat. I don't recall seeing that. Do you, Harrington?
Oh yeah, I do. He was asking about I believe that's him. He was asking if we have seen the trailer for the new Superman movie.
I have.
Okay.
I didn't like it. No, I don't know. Call me. Listen, I didn't see anything original there. You know, it just looked like a rehash of old Superman stuff. You know what I mean? And yeah, Henry Cavill, he was fantastic. What's the original guy called? My God, Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeves.
Christopher, I love those Superman movies. They're fantastic. They are good. Fond memories as a child, but I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought the suit looked like shit. He didn't look like the best Superman, but who knows? Maybe it's a tremendous film. Anyway, Harrington, one topic that people often like to talk about is who will be the champion at the end of 2025. Okay. So have you got the rankings up there in front of you? Can you do that?
I'll pull them up right now.
All you do is type UFC rankings. It comes up. It's that quick. So flyweight division, right now the champ is Alejandro Pantoja. Right? I'm looking at the rankings. Royval, Moreno, Amir Albazi, Kai Kara France. Who is the champion this time next year? Right. It's either, in my opinion, Alejandro Pantoja or Manel Kopp. Manel Kopp looked ridiculous in Tampa. And I do believe he has a potential at becoming the champion. At some point in his career, I think he will be a champion. But can he beat Pantoja? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's you took the words out of my mouth. It was a coin flip between those two. Heading into the Tatsu fight, I would have said Manel Kopp beats either of those guys for the title for the next fight up. Coming out of that fight, looking how dominant Pantoja was in there, seeing the mistakes that Kopp made, even in that fight where he did look sensational, he still got caught a couple of times. And if Pantoja catches you, like he jumps onto that moment where you're stunned against the cage, he's not going to try to follow up with strikes. He's going to wrap up your back, get you down, and get you choked out. So I think those are the only two. I'm going to say Pantoja.
Yeah. I say Pantoja as well. I'm looking at the top 15. That's the only guy right now that I think legitimately, I mean, that sounds disrespectful to Kai Kara France. Of course, he's formidable as well. But yeah, Royval. Moving on. Let's try and make this a bit quicker. We got loads of divisions, buddy. Okay. Merab Dvalishvili, champion right now, going up against Umar Nurmagomedov. End of 2025. Who's the champ?
It's either Umar or Merab. The two guys.
We can't have the same conversation every time. It's either.
All right, you know what?
You're saying O'Malley can't get the belt back? You're saying Piotr Jan stands no chance? You're saying Corey Sandhagen is out of his depth?
I'm going to say it's Davison Figueiredo.
Oh, he just lost to Piotr Jan.
I know. He can build back. 2 big wins. You're in a title shot. He can get those in March and June and then fight, by November for the title.
Now, this might be heavily swayed by the fact that Merab's coming on the show on Monday, but I'm going to say Merab Dvalishvili.
I like it.
No, I am, though. Moving on. Featherweight division, Ilia Topuria. I'll just start off by saying I don't think, the only person, and it's a real conversation, is Max Holloway or Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez should be the next fight pardon me. What am I saying? Ilia Topuria. Excuse me. Ilia Topuria or Diego Lopez.
Nope.
What?
Volkanovski.
You say no?
You mean Volkanovski. Oh, you're saying by end of year it'll be Topuria
by the end of
Lopez.
the year.
Okay.
I love Volk. I think he had his time, and his time was tremendous. I think Volkanovski was amazing. What a champ, right? Unbelievable. He defended the belt 4 times, something like that. Incredible run. No doubt made a fortune. Still going to have some great fights. Still going to entertain us. Still going to make a lot of money. But I don't think he becomes the champion again. And I say that out of nothing but love and respect and admiration. Ilia Topuria is doing sensational things. The only person right now that I think that could even pose a challenge is Diego Lopez. And that's the fight that has to happen next.
Yeah, I personally don't think we see Ilia Topuria fight at 145 this year. I think he's angling for some kind of super fight at 55. And I could see it being a thing where it's either the division's just on hold for a year where he's champion by default. If that belt goes on the line, I think Diego Lopez takes it down and he's your champion by the end of the year.
Okay, so you got Diego, I've got Ilia Topuria. Moving on, Islam Makhachev, the lightweight division. And this comes down to the UFC 311, essentially, because it's the hardest fight. Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan, they fought once already. Arman was 22 years old. He stepped up on a few weeks' notice, and he did really well. He pushed Islam. It wasn't a domination from Islam. Far from it. It was a very, very competitive fight. It was a very competitive fight. Arman started to slow down a bit. What are you laughing at? Something in the chat?
No, I'm laughing at the fact that I walked away from that fight going, man, Islam's not even that tough. Look how much he struggled against this guy on short notice.
Yeah. No,
and
he did. And now, of course, Arman's older. He's stronger. He's more experienced, and he's got a full camp. It's down to them two, champ at the end of the year. Islam.
I'm going to say we need another gigantic star from that part of the world. Dan Hooker. Why not Dan Hooker? Why not Dan Hooker?
Let's go wild card. Fuck it. Yeah. If we're doing that, if you're throwing wild cards out there, Paddy Pimblett, Renato Moicano.
I mean, honestly, either one of those is a decent shout.
Really?
I mean, look, what do you think if Paddy gets this fight with Michael Chandler? Which it's like, I mean, it seems like both guys are alluding to it. If he gets a win over Michael Chandler, then he's legitimately within striking distance of a title. And it's like, I don't know, man, like whatever happens with this Arman versus Islam fight, maybe Islam once again gets bored of the division, decides he wants to go up. Now the title's vacated. I think that Paddy is going to get himself very close to a title. I think Moicano is going to get himself very close to a title, and anything can happen once you're in that. Like, once you're in that mix, I mean, you were fourth on the list of guys who got the call. You flew off a plane from Toronto on 8 days' notice, won a fight as a plus 400 underdog. Michael, anything's possible.
Anything is possible. And I'll tell you this, Paddy proved himself, as we know. I think he proved that he's more than just, some fun fights. He proved that he's more than just a loud mouth and like good at selling a fight. He's proved that he's more than just an accent. You know what I mean? He's legit. That sub against Bobby Green, that was one of the slickest you've ever seen in the history of the UFC. That was beautiful. And 2 more wins. I mean, who knows? 1 more good win. You never know. If he was to fight Michael Chandler, that'd jump him up a tremendous amount. So you never know. You never know. But champ at the end of the year, I'll say Islam. Bilal Muhammad. It's the same thing. It's a 2-horse race. Is it Bilal or is it Shavkat? Give me your answer. Go.
I'm going to say Bilal. I just think, Bilal's style is, he's dominant, man. Like, you're going to need somebody like maybe an Ian Gary to finally take him down, like somebody who's that good at stopping takedown attempts, somebody who can just fight you in the clinch and keep up that same kind of pressure that Ian Gary can. I don't think any of these guys are going to put together enough, to take it off of Bilal. I don't think Gary gets a fight against him this year. So
I don't think I don't think he fights for the belt this year. I don't think he would become the champion either. Not this year anyway. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Shavkat versus Bilal. Early call. Yeah, I'm same thing. I wasn't overly impressed against Ian Gary. Now, granted, apparently he was injured. Apparently tore his hamstring or something right before that fight. Who knows about that? Yeah. But yeah, this time next year, I'll say Bilal Muhammad, Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker. Who's going to be the champ at the end of 2025 in the middleweight division?
Hamzat?
Ooh, I'm going to say Dricus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Light heavyweight. No, that's not light heavyweight. It should be. Is anyone going to beat Alex Pereira? Be honest.
I don't think it's going to be Magomed Ankalaev. So
I'm trying to curry favor apparently by everyone in the chat on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to say Jamal Hill. No, Alex Pereira will still be the champ this time next year. And the heavyweight division, Johnny Bones Jones, or will it be the interim heavyweight champion of the world, the one and only Tom Aspinall. What do you think?
I think if Aspinall and Jones fights, Aspinall clearly wins. And I think he even defends one more time before the end of the year if it happens in June against Jones.
You know, I was thinking about this recently, and I've always been very bullish on Tom beating Jon Jones, right? And then I watched some of that fight with Stipe back again, and like just, and I still, listen, I'm a friend of Tom. I'm an admirer. I'm a supporter. I'm a fan. And I still think he beats Jon Jones. I do. But I had a couple of thoughts. Watching that fight, the diversity, like the variety of strikes that Jon Jones, was using was really impressive. It was never the same thing more than once or twice. And then obviously the spinning back kick was great. The foot sweep in round 1 or 2, was it? And he just pummeled him on the ground. I mean, it was really, really nice stuff. Now, granted, Tom, the power that he has, it's more meat and potatoes from Tom. He's not as tricky, shall we say, but if he cracks you, good luck staying on your feet, right? But Tom's never fought anybody like that. And I was thinking, Jon Jones, with all the experience that he has, he's fought a lot of different styles. He's fought wrestlers. He's fought people like that. Now, for Tom, in the heavyweight division, all right, Curtis Blades, probably his best opponent. Who else? Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, fucking devastating. But it's just that John's gone through all these different people. Anyway, the point that I'm making is I was just like, it's probably a harder fight than what I initially thought. Because I was like, Tom's just going to smoke him. He's going to kill him. He's going to kill him. I still think Tom wins, but I was watching. I'm like, hold on a minute. Hold on. Jon Jones is pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could say back to that is I don't know that Jon Jones has ever fought a guy like Tom who likes to get fights done that quickly. You know, a lot of guys let Jon take time to download reads, to feel their movement. Like, they let Jon Jones set the pace. Tom Aspinall never lets another person set the pace. He's foot on the gas from the jump.
Listen. Hey, I'm going to let you into a little secret. We all want to finish it that quickly. It's just that we don't have the ability. That's why I've always been so high on Tom Aspinall. It's like, trust me, he's not planning on, oh, okay, I'm going to take him out now, right? When we're fighting, anytime you throw a shot, you throw it with bad intentions for the most part. There might be a few flicky jabs and this and that. If you're going to step into the pocket, you're in the fucking danger zone. So, of course, you're going to rip. You know what I mean? It's just that most people don't have that ability to have the touch of death where you go down. That's how good Tom Aspinall is. We all want to finish fights like that, you know. And then I was doing the same thing. I was looking at Jon Jones and looking at his resume and trying to think, who's the most dangerous puncher that Jon Jones has fought? Probably, we were talking about him earlier, Quinton Rampage Jackson. Rampage hits hard, really hard. I mean, he knocked out Chuck Liddell. He had some impressive knockouts. Flatline Vanderlei Silva. There's a few others as well. It's probably the hardest puncher, I would say, is Quinton Rampage Jackson. And he out-wrestled him, and he used his fight IQ and his game plans and all the rest of it like he always does. Chipped away at him and choked him out, you know. So, yeah, I still think Tom wins that, so I think he'll be the champion this time next year. Now, listen, we're not male chauvinistic pigs, Harrington. Mm-hmm. I know I'm not. Are you?
No.
No, you might be a little bit slyly. Are we going through the women's divisions?
I'm more hyped about the women's divisions because I have a fun one. I have a real fun one.
Of course. We're being silly, of course. I mean, all right, let's just start with it. Strawweight. Zhang Weili. I said this a while ago. I believe a title is in the future for Tatiana Suarez. Uh-huh. I'm commentating this fight in Sydney. I can't make a pick. I got to sit on the fence. I can't say it. I can't do it. Harrington, who will be the champion this time next year?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those two. I've been saying Tatiana Suarez forever. If she can make the weight, show up healthy, she'll win the belt, and then it'll probably just sit on it for the rest of the year. So I'm going to say Tatiana Suarez.
All right, Tatiana Suarez. Flyweight, Valentina Shevchenko, currently the champion, of course. ended that trilogy with Alexa Grasso, Manonfiore at number 2 or 3, whichever it is. Erin Blanchfield before her. I think Fiore has got a really good chance. I do, but I just see Shevchenko wrestling the way that she did against Alexa Grasso. The double legs, the wrestling ability in general is absolutely fantastic. I can't see Shevchenko losing to her just because of the wrestling.
I can. I mean, I was so blown away by Menon for the Rose Namajunas fight, of course, but then the fight in Atlantic City against Erin Blanchfield, who's somebody who, like you're talking about wrestling. This is a girl who spent 25 minutes doing everything she could to try to get her into any kind of a submission. And Menon just shrugged her off. Real simple with the combos, just piecing her up. So I like Menon to win that fight, but I like my girl Macy Barber to beat her before the end of the year.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious. Macy Barber's on like a 4 or 5 fight win streak, something like that.
She's great. She's an incredible fighter. The joke is because, she's one of your favorites. That's what I was saying. And then, of course, bantamweight division, Juliana Pena, currently the champ. I mean, I think Kayla Harrison, or I might think even Amanda Nunes.
That's what I was going to say. That's my pick.
And I like Juliana Pena. She's a lot of fun. She's great. When you hang out with her in person, she's hilarious, in fact.
Oh, yeah.
You sat with her near us when we were in MSG. I sat with her again this time, and she was funny. I sat with her in Vegas with my wife, and she was, she's good energy to sit around and watch fights with. She's talking shit about everyone and like screaming and hollering. She's awesome. She is, and she's a tough fighter. I just think Kayla Harrison is something special. So I'd pick Kayla Harrison at the end of the year. And if Amanda Nunes comes back, I got to go with the Lioness.
Yeah, that's my pick too. I do think Kayla and Juliana are going to fight. I think that's like a foregone conclusion. I think Kayla does enough to get that win, and that's enough to bring Amanda out of retirement. Because it's like, I mean, Amanda's teased it too many times for her to not desperately want Kayla Harrison to win this fight and then test her skills against Kayla, right?
Yeah, no. I agree. All right, so there's our picks. Hosier had a little super chat there, said, what's our most anticipated movie in 2025? Nothing but movie questions from this guy. I will say this. I filmed a movie, but now we're in 2025. I filmed it in 2022, which technically, according to the calendar, is 3 years ago now. Red Sonja. I spoke to the director the other day. It's ready. It's sold. It's getting a theatrical release. Initially, I believe, I could be wrong, I thought it was going to go straight to a streaming service. Now it's getting a theatrical release. Hopefully, it will be released in about March, something like that. It's my biggest part to date. Got a lot of range, a lot of motion. Some emotion on the screen, I might even cry a little bit and shed some tears. Ooh. You know what I mean? So for me, I'll say that one because it's been 3 years waiting. What about you, Harrington?
I mean, I'm going with another Michael Bisping classic, Den of Thieves 2.
Hey.
I am hyped for that movie, dude.
That comes out next week.
Oh, really?
Den of Thieves 2,
in January. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
The premiere was on Friday the 10th. I'm commentating on January the 11th. So I'm trying to figure out a way I can do both, but I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? Because I'm like, when I'm commentating, I can't show up, hungover or anything like that. But that said, I'm off the booze these days. This is dry. This is a dry Bisping era that we're living in right now. So like the productivity is going to go through the roof.
Where's the premiere?
LA.
And the fight's in Vegas?
It's no problem. I can go to the premiere, jump on a plane in the morning. Boom, I can make it.
So you don't have to be in Vegas for fighter meetings or anything like that? The weigh-ins?
When they're at the Apex, we do them virtually.
Ooh,
yeah, we do them virtually. Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure. How are you not going to go to a movie premiere? That's the dream.
Yeah, do you know Rebecca hates anything like that? She
Really?
Can't stand it. And to be honest, I like that about her. I respect that about her. She hates movie premieres and red carpets and all that bullshit. She's like, go by yourself. Because because I've done a little bit of acting and whatnot. I get invited to a few premieres here and there. And I think they're fun. Do you know what I mean? Let you go there, and like, there's always an after party and stuff like that. And you know, I get invited to some like good movie premieres. Rebecca never, ever wants to go. I've been with Ellie. I've taken Ellie a couple of times.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't you have a daughter who's an aspiring actress?
I do. So I take her a couple of times, but Rebecca could not care less. Could not care less. And I actually love that about her. So that's good. Let's have a look in the chat here. Got any good questions for us in the chat? Please let us know. Red Sonja even flopped with Arnold and Bridget. Well, that's just nasty for one. Secondly, I don't know if it flopped, but I'll tell you what, Red Sonja was one of my childhood favorite films. Loved it. I watched it back recently. Didn't really stand the test of time. But when I was a kid, I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger. Someone says, yeah, I'm seeing Pantera in February. Yeah, it's Den of Thieves 2 is going to be unbelievable. It's, I mean, I've only got a small part in it again. I'm obviously not going to give any spoilers, but it's going to be great. I can't wait to see it. Horses with courses, straight from the top of my dome. Okay, whatever that means. Any New Year's resolutions for 2025? Well, I say it all the time, and I touched on it a second ago. Trying to stop drinking, you know, and I always say that because drink's not a problem in my life, but I wish I didn't drink as much. So anyway, so I'm reading this book right now called Quit Drinking Without Willpower. And it is fantastic.
Oh, who's the author?
Alan Carr.
Yes, that's the guy who does the smoking book.
Yeah, so he did a book called Quit Smoking Without Willpower. So he has this whole method on how to do it. So I started reading it, and it's so interesting. And basically what he's talking about is that it's you got neural pathways in your brain to learn behavior, you know, and a lot of the time you associate having a good time, socializing and all the rest of it with having a drink. And it's totally true, you know, because I'm not an alky or anything like that, you know, but I'll have a couple of drinks and I wish I didn't. And then sometimes I overdo it and I wake up with a bit of a sore head or whatever, you know, and it's not good for your liver, but it's absolutely right. So anyway, we're 2 days in, guys. We're 2 days in, but the plan is until February, Sydney, Australia. I'm going to stay dry till then, lose a few pounds. Yeah.
Until after the pay-per-view, till the pay-per-view after party.
Yeah, because my buddy Jacko, he's going to be there. He's flying in. Rebecca's best friend is flying in as well, you know, and he's an old school, one of my old school, DJ Jacko and Mikey B. He's my old mate. He lives in Australia. You know, we used to DJ back to back. Do you know what I mean? So we'll be throwing down a few. So I'll stay sober until then. What about you, Harrington?
Well, my big thing, you know, I talked about on the show the other day, getting to gaming with friends, already making pathways to that. But I did, I think I was talking to you right before the show. I saw a friend of mine get on the scale and he was 300 pounds. And I was like, yo, it's right around the corner from me. So I need to button up and fly right. I'm doing the bone broth fast on the 15th. I think that's what I'm targeting for that week. And then just kickstart into the new year. You know, I don't know, try to get to maybe 185 by summer. Yeah. That'd be pretty sweet.
No, good for you, Harrington, because, you know, it's important. You're going to, you know, all the time you see these posts on social media everywhere, health is wealth and all the rest of it. And it's absolutely true. And then obviously, given what I went through with my neck this past year, I mean, the neck issue has been ongoing for years, but this last year was really bad and I was miserable. And I was, go on, what are you going to say?
Well, I saw a really good one just like that, where it was like a woman in her 70s who's like, you know, abling along with like a walker, and then another like woman in her 70s like running up a mountain or whatever.
That. Yeah, no, I saw that. It's like, this is the difference that you can have to your life with exercise. Exercise is one of the most important things that you can do. It's just as simple as that. You have to work out. And I've actually, because Rebecca's come to the gym with me now. Yeah, I used to drag her into the garage now and again, and she got bored of it. She's like, it's a bit miserable in the garage, and I don't blame her. It is. It's not the same vibe. So now we're going to the gym because ball got dropped, not casting Bisping as Kano in Mortal Kombat. I know I actually auditioned for that, Zoltan. Anyway, I've convinced her now because, to your point, lifting weights is so important and building muscle is so important. And Rebecca's realized it now as well, because as you're getting older, you need to hang on to your muscle, because if you don't have muscle, then you don't burn as many calories. And if you don't burn as many calories, then you put fat on. Okay. But if you have more muscle, you burn more calories. So it's so important. And then also it's important as you're aging, you know, like you get older, you get a little bit more frail, you know, you stumble, you fall over. If you've got muscle, you can catch yourself. You still got the fast twitch muscle. You can stop yourself instead of falling over and breaking a hip or breaking whatever it is. And I'm only 45 and Rebecca's only 42. But I'm like, babe, finally now she's kind of seen the light and she knows it's important to lift weights and just get down the gym and be healthy, you know. So yeah, she's working out, and I'm like, babe, we're going to Australia in February. You're gonna be wearing a bikini. Come on, let's go.
That is a fun idea, like planning a beach trip in the winter to make sure that you never hit that slack off point. You always got to be beach body ready. I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. I'm taking the piss. She looks great all the time. But it is important, and it's good for your mental health and all the rest of it. So yeah, working out, Harrington, good for you, man. Set some goals. You know, one thing that we always see in the chat here, Harrington, and speak your mind, tell the truth. People are always giving me shit for being mean to you. You know, it's like they still don't get it after all these years.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a little thing that we do in England called taking the piss. And I thought that some people in America did that as well, certainly on the East Coast. And in many ways, and certainly in my neck of the woods where I'm from, that's how you show affection.
Yeah. And it's like, don't act like we don't all get on Bisping's case too. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here? Yeah, no, never once. But no, it's, you know, it is what it is. I feel like it's almost at this point, I feel like they're playing into it because it's a bit now for them to make you say, you know what I mean? Like it's gone too meta.
Yeah. They're just trying to get a rise out of me. Mm-hmm. We take the piss, but sometimes Harrington looks devastated. And you do look a little devastated sometimes, Harrington, but it's fine.
I'm a decent actor. I can go, oh no, that hurt. Yeah. Oh, please don't.
All right. Should we see what's going on in the world of MMA?
I love it.
Is there any big stories out there right now? I'll tell you where's a good one to go to. Twitter, you're going to find some crazy shit. But what have you got right now, Harrington?
Well, I'm seeing
this is just an impromptu live, by the way. We haven't like scheduled out topics and all the rest of it. So, you know, here's Khabib Nurmagomedov. Ireland don't have fighters, brother. Let's be honest. How many fighters? All right, brother. Ireland, they don't have fighters. Let's be honest. How many fighters do you know come from Ireland? Paul Hughes, Conor McGregor, and who else? Dagestan level of MMA here, but Ireland level not even half. Well, Ireland is a country full of fighters. I'll say that. That's for absolutely damn sure. Of course, Khabib's going to say that because of his nemesis, Conor McGregor. And of course, there's probably throughout history more famous Russian fighters, because look at the size of Russia. It's one of the biggest countries on the bloody planet. And Ireland's not exactly a big place, and it's not a huge population either. But make no mistake, there's plenty of Irish fighters, whether boxers, MMA fighters. You go down a pub and start talking shit in Ireland, or anywhere in the UK and Ireland for that matter, you'll find out, buddy. You'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, brother, 143 million Russia, Ireland, 5 million. What? Of course, there's more Russian fighters, dude. That's simple math.
Hold on. The UFC, this is according to Happy Punch. The UFC is reportedly involved in deep negotiations with Conor McGregor and Logan Paul for an exhibition targeted in April. I mean, we've been talking about this already. I don't know what, via Misfit Boxing. Okay. We talked about this on Monday at length, and we won't bang on about it too much. I think it's going to go ahead.
Yeah. You know what makes me think it's going to happen?
Go on.
Hale came out and said it's not going to happen. So that's
a lot of people have been saying that as well. I tell you, maybe he said that because Ian Parker, who he works with, Ian Parker is like an analyst on ESPN.
I know
knows a lot about the fight game, knows a lot about the boxing world, and a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well. And he was tweeting saying there's no way anyone's going to pay them $250 million each, right? But you never know. This guy, this Ambani dude, is one of the richest men on the planet. And who knows, maybe it's an investment for India. So it might happen. It might happen. I'll tell you what, Conor McGregor, given all the shit that he falls through, still comes out smelling of roses.
I mean, dude, this is a guy who spent what, 300 million on his kid's wedding. You don't think he'd spend an extra 200 million on the most talked about fight of the year? Come on.
Well, it'll be 500 million, but still. I mean, what's a cheeky 200 million to
I'm saying 200 million more. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Tony Ferguson has been teasing a new fight. Tony Ferguson tweeted, completely destroyed myself to reinvent it as an artist. I aim to showing you something you've never seen before. Happy New Year's, crew. 2025 in my sights. Champ shit only. Stay tuned and watch the magic. New mission acknowledged. Fight news coming soon. What do you think?
I'm thinking Cowboy. I mean, Cowboy joins the testing pool again, and now he's saying, I got big news coming, new mission. I mean, I did say champ shit only, but it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, we said this on Monday. You're right, though. I'm glad you said that. It makes all the sense in the world. Tony beat him the first time. Dana has a really good relationship with Donald Cerrone. Ferguson's a legend. I'd like to see him retire. If he's going to give him one more go, Donald Cerrone kind of makes sense in that regard. You know, they're both guys that shouldn't maybe be fighting. You know, if Cerrone's coming back for 2 more, God bless him. All the best, good luck to him. Yeah, as long as it's something like that. As long as it's not, you know, I don't know who else it could be, but, you know, I like that one, though. What else? What you got?
Sean O'Malley on his tour of Japan. I don't know if you know anything about that, why he did a big star-studded tour of Japan. That was
because he can. That's the cool thing about becoming a worldwide phenomenon. You know, you can do shit like that. You don't need a reason to say, I'm going to go do a tour of Japan. Here's what happens. Your agent calls you and says, we're getting a bit of interest in Japan. We can get you $150,000. They'll fly you first class. They're going to take you to a bunch of nice hotels. You're going to do some appearances. You'll do some seminars. You'll do some interviews. Whoever set that up, your boy, I've never been to Japan. Sign me up. I'll do it for half the price. I'm dying to go to Japan. But that's why he did it. But I haven't seen any of the news that came out of it.
So, I mean, it's been a lot of silliness. I know he was at the Risen card. He did some stuff for like some Japanese game shows where he's like kicking guys in the pants or whatever. But I think the big thing, at least, like what people have been hitting me up about, do you think with this interest in Sean O'Malley, specifically in Japan, he's buzzing about there, do you think a fight with Tatsu Taira, because that's a dude who fought primarily at 135 in Risen, do you think he comes up to 135 to fight Sean O'Malley? Like, is that a big star-studded fight for the UFC in 2025?
Tatsuro Taira?
Yes.
Yeah, Tatsuro Taira. Yeah. I mean, listen. Or are you talking about Kaya Sakura?
I'm thinking of Kaya Sakura. I'm a dummy. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's quite all right. They're both Japanese. Tatsuro Taira just lost to Brandon Royval. Kaya Sakura just lost to Pantoja. Either one of those would be a great fight for O'Malley, of course. He just lost. He's got to fight again. He's out there in Japan now. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be somebody like that. It's going to be interesting to see who they do match up Kaya Sakura with. Anytime you get a title fight in your debut like that, obviously there's a lot of headlines, a lot of attention, and a lot of envy from everybody else on the roster as well. They're like, this son of a bitch just comes in with his big swinging dig, gets a title fight straight away. I've had 15 fights, never had a title fight. So I'm sure a lot of people will want to fight him because he'll represent an opportunity now. So it'll be interesting there. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure what else we got. Okay,
I got a fun one. The UFC hit up a bunch of fighters for their New Year's resolutions.
Go on, give them to me.
Sean O'Malley, what is your New Year's resolution for 2025? Non-fight related. He said no sex till his next fight.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to do that. There's more chance of me not drinking again. Listen, he hasn't got a fight scheduled. You know what I mean? So don't set yourself up to fail. What else?
All right. Merab says my 2025 New Year's resolution: spend more quality time home in Georgia with my family and friends. The past few visits have been filled with meetings and fan gatherings, which I'm grateful for, but they came at the expense of relaxing with my family. I hope I can spend this time with them and maybe find a wife there. My New Year's wish is for peace, all countries, especially sweet home Georgia.
Yeah, can I
I
just
like
say,
that.
Jake Webb is in the chat. He says, these dorks think this is live and they are answering from the chat. Jake Webb, we are. This is live, you dork. Yeah, fair
uh,
play. Merab is Georgian, just like I. I say every year I've got to go back to England more. I got myself a little place out there, so I do go back more. I was going to go up in Christmas, but I couldn't. I don't know if I've mentioned it. It's something to do with my neck. But yeah. What else? What are the New
uh,
Year's resolutions?
they asked Shavkat. He just said no,
Yeah,
which I
good,
think is pretty
good.
funny.
He's like,
Uh,
no, shut up. This is stupid, brother. I'm just looking here. There's some good ones there. Oh, dude, I couldn't believe it when I turned on the news. The shit that went down in New Orleans, man.
New Orleans.
God. It's and then the Cybertruck.
What was that about, by the way?
I don't know. Obviously, it exploded outside Trump Tower. So, like, my initial thought was it was like some crazy extreme leftist, and it might have been. I might be right because Rebecca thought it was another terrorism attack. I'm like, well, I don't think so. You know, Trump Tower in Vegas. It's way off the strip. It's not like a crowded area. You know, you could go 300 yards and you're on the strip. You could go pull up anywhere and there'll be, you can pull up outside the MGM, pull up outside any casino, one of the main casinos. There's people everywhere. And if that bomb went off, there'd be mass casualties. But they parked it outside Trump Tower. So I'm inclined to think it's something to do with that. However, did you see, because it was a Cybertruck, did you see this?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Go on, give me the deets.
So apparently, because it's steel and the way that it's built, instead of the explosion going out, it forced the whole thing upward, which they're saying like greatly reduced the amount of damage done by an exploding Cybertruck.
It was still a massive explosion, though.
Oh yeah, it's big.
It was huge, but I tell you what an advert for Cybertrucks.
And Trump Tower.
And the guy's also a moron. If you're trying to cause mass casualties, it wasn't the best place, and I'm glad there wasn't mass casualties, of course. But picking the Cybertruck, the amount of technology in that car, you know, there's cameras all over those. Now, I don't know if they're recording, and I know a lot of people don't like the technology and all the rest of it because they say it infringes on privacy. But in this case, it might be good because all the technology and all the Wi-Fi and the location services and all the rest of it that car has, they're gonna catch this son of a bitch pretty quick, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is I saw somebody posted like, and so I'm hesitant to even share because I don't know the validity of it, but I saw somebody posting a video of that next to a guy's LinkedIn, and the guy's LinkedIn said that he was in the army for quite some time. So that's who.
No, that was the guy in New Orleans.
Oh yeah,
the guy in New Orleans was in the army for a little while. Yeah,
okay,
and that guy's a piece of shit.
yeah, that one's bad.
Dead. I mean, Jesus Christ, could you imagine I mean, it happened in Germany right before Christmas at a German market. Similar type of scenarios. Just. I mean, despicable. Evil doesn't begin to describe it. This fucking guy pulls into Bourbon Street, full speed, rams people over, and then jumps out and starts shooting everyone. That street is absolutely packed. I've been there. The Bourbon Street bitch got me. I'll catch up with him one day, by the way. I was there on just a regular day, and it was absolutely packed. I can only imagine how crowded that was on New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve, to do that, I mean, the level of, not insanity, because this guy isn't insane. He's a fundamentalist. He's a fucking psycho. His brain is warped. Obviously, he has a problem with Western society and war in America and stuff like that. To do that and then to jump out with a gun and just randomly start shooting people. Jeez, it's awful, man. It's awful.
Especially
It really is.
so, like, I did see a thing. New Orleans had this problem once before during Mardi Gras, where somebody like drove into a car full of people, and they had hydraulic barriers installed to prevent, like, if a thing like this happened, they'd be able to put a barrier up. Now that
Yeah.
that car can't plow into a crowd of people, they said they couldn't lift the barriers because citywide they were down for repairs on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. No, no. Oh, they were down for repairs
Yeah,
on New
they
Year's
have
Eve.
them. They have them, and it's like
Oh, for
this is
crying
what you
out
would use
loud.
it for.
DEI. I tell you what, that's just insane. What's the point in having them? And then the busiest celebration. Simple as that. It doesn't get bigger than New Year's Eve. The crowds are always crazy. That's why this year, and by the way, Luke Turk, sis, I just saw your super chat there. More than a year, I'm still chasing my photo with Michael from Tales from the Octagon. Poor Bisping fan, VIP ticket. I'm sorry, 230 quid. Was expecting more from a legend, but still a fan. Mate, that's not my fault. I'm sorry, buddy. As I think I said to you before, Lucas, shoot me a DM, and I'll figure something out. But I have nothing to do with the photo service. And if you didn't get your photo that night and they didn't get an email to you, I apologize. But that's not my area, mate. So, don't expect more from me. I was there. I met you. I shook your hand. We took a picture. If some guy didn't forward it on to you, that's not my problem. Sorry, what did you say a second ago? Just bring me back on topic.
They have hydraulic press like barriers that they can spring up to stop cars from plowing into people.
Yeah, why the F on New Year's Eve would they do that? Who in the right mind thought, I know, let's get them repaired on New Year's Eve, right? I went to the gym this morning and I do the Stairmaster now because I pulled my groin when I did the Wayne show in Manchester and it still gives me issues. It's pissing me off, so I can't run at the moment. And the Stairmasters, they've had a scheduled for service sign, 3 of them, for about 4 weeks. And I'm like, you're taking the piss. They're not scheduled for service. I don't know what you're doing. Anyway, but still, things that are scheduled for service, don't schedule it on New Year's Eve. I mean, that's the time that these are bloody needed because it's going to be crowded. I mean, speaking of New Year's Eve, this is how you know I'm getting old, Harrington. What time do you think I was in bed on New Year's Eve?
Not drinking? Did the not drinking start already?
No. I saw New Year's Eve out with a bang.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm gonna say you made it to 11:15. I
was in bed at 6:33 p.m.
Jesus. You really did see it to New Year's.
It's Rebecca. She's a hermit. She doesn't want to go. We went out for an early dinner. To be fair, we were both exhausted. We went out for an early dinner. It was just me, Lucas, and Rebecca. We had a nice bite to eat, and we were going to go watch Nosferatu. We're wild. We're going to go watch that movie because she loves the Dracula franchise. She's with the Count after all. And so we were going to do that. That was going to be like 6 till 8, and then we were going to go for a drink or two afterwards or whatever. But we had food, and we were just exhausted. I said, "Can we skip the movie?" And she said, "Yeah, but as long as we go to bed." So she's just obsessed with going to bed. She loves to hang out. When we're in the house, 6, 7 o'clock every night, we got to go to bed. She never sits down in the lounge room. Even when her brother was here at Christmas, I'm like, babe, it's rude. We can't go upstairs and hang out in our little boudoir. Do you know what I mean? You have to sit downstairs and socialize with people. But still, yeah, we were in bed super, super early. Hold on, we've got a couple more super chats here. This is Curtis. This is the guy that pulled that Cybertruck thing into Trump Tower. Oh, he was inside the vehicle when it blew up. I never knew that. News said he shot himself before the explosion. Met you in Philadelphia at the meet and greet. Love your show. Thank you very much, Curtis. All right, so he was inside it. Well,
apparently both cases rented cars, by the way.
No, I know.
Rented them off the Toro app.
Yeah. Well, they're both dead anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah, anyway, well, good riddance to bad rubbish. I mean, it's just, but, anyway, there's not a lot to say. I mean, it's just, we could go on and on and on about it, but there's better things to talk about, or more important things, or fun things, should I say. We're not trying to get all doom and gloom. It's just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. What have we got, Harrington? Breaking news?
No, just somebody in the chat reminded me that the PDC World Championships are on right now. Pro darts. Luke Littler,
Jesus
apparently.
Christ. Love a bit of darts.
Do you not?
Not really. I don't watch a lot of sport. Anyway.
You should go to a live darts match. You would have fun.
I've played darts. Even though I've got one eye, I can still throw a dart. I've got to go.
Oh, yeah?
We've got to wrap this one up.
All right.
We've been going for an hour and 10 minutes.
We have.
Look at my hair. It's long. It's out of control.
Okay.
I've got a haircut. I'm scheduled for 2:00. It's 1:43. It's a 30-minute drive away. As always, I'll be 15 minutes late. Francesca's awesome, but she expects that. She's never on time anyway. And anytime I do get there on time, she's not finished. So it's like this little unwritten rule. But because of that, we do have to wrap this one short. So we're going to go. That's been an hour. Harrington, you're the man. I appreciate you, buddy. All you people watching this, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button right now, right? Because we're live. I'm going to watch the tally go up. Hit it now. Don't be a prick. Support the show. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, do all that good stuff. We'll be back on Monday with another episode. As I said, we're joined by Paul Felder. We've got Merab Davalishvili. We've got the former champion. Well, we've got the bantamweight champ Merab, and we've got the former champ Yuri Prohashka, and of course Paul, Brian, and Harrington will be having a laugh as well. If you have a question, please send in a video question to bympod@gmail.com. And in fact, we might just do like a question special coming up soon. Ooh. That might be fun. So send in your video questions for whatever you want to know about. And that's it. Harrington, have you got a word for the believers?
Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Happy New Year. And that's it. All right, guys, I got to get my hair cut. Got to get it under control. Harrington, you're the man. Take care. Bye-bye. You got to hit stop recording because Harrington's in charge.
I did.
You stopped?